Last week, the U.S. Department of Defense reported that one of its high-tech stealth drone aircraft had been shot down over Afghanistan on December 4th. Unmanned stealth drones, known as UAVs, are unmanned aerial vehicles. Like the RQ170, are supposed to be secure against capture. They have internal self-destruct mechanisms that explode the aircraft in the event of a crash landing. Later, Iran began showing video footage of an undamaged American Sentinel stealth drone that it says it captured from the United States. How could this be? The Pentagon is not yet willing to admit it, but somehow the Iranians managed to crack our command codes and snatch control of the stealth drone away from its pilot, who was probably sitting in an Air Force facility somewhere in Nevada. Having seized electronic control of the aircraft, Iran was able to fly it into their airspace, apparently disabling the self-destruct mechanism in the process. Once safely inside of Iran's borders, they brought the hijacked plane down in a controlled landing. The Pentagon reportedly considered sending commando units into Iran to retrieve or destroy the unmanned drone. But the White House nixed the plan for fear it would escalate tensions with Iran. An airstrike was also considered, but ruled out for the same reasons. The decision leaves Iran in possession of more than just America's secret stealth technology. They also have the data stored in onboard computers about the targets the U.S. was surveying. This may give the Iranians advance notice of where to expect a possible attack on their nuclear facilities. Even more worrisome is Iran's ability to reach out and snatch our UAVs out of the sky. If the Iranians can reprogram our UAVs on the fly, so to speak, then there's no way to know what other high-tech weapons they may be able to intercept, disable, or even turn against us. This development has put the West, particularly the United States and Israel, into an increasingly perilous position. In one fell swoop, this has rendered useless one of our most important means of defense against enemies like Iran, radical Islam, and potentially Russia and China. In October, the Russian Defense Ministry announced its decision not to sell Iran its sophisticated S-300 missile defense system. The S-300 and its newer version, the S-400, is considered the most sophisticated anti-aircraft and anti-missile defense system in the world. It's capable of simultaneously engaging 12 separate targets while tracking up to 100 targets from as far as 80 miles away. It deploys in 5 minutes and never needs maintenance in its lifetime. Russia's S-300 is effective against both stealth aircraft and cruise missiles and would give Iran a qualitative edge against any incoming U.S. or Israeli airstrike. Iran really wants it, and Russia really wants to get its hands on the U.S. Sentinel drone. So do the Chinese. In fact, some observers believe that's how the Iranians were able to pull off the command and control theft. Either Russia or China, or both, gave them the technology. On Saturday, the deputy commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, General Hussein Salami, said they were unimpressed with the U.S. technology. He said, "The gap between us and the U.S. or Zionist regime and other developed countries is not so wide." Nevertheless, General Salami said that the U.S. could forget about getting its UAV back. Already, there are teams of Russian and Chinese negotiators bidding for access to the U.S. secrets. According to Israel's Debka file, Revolutionary Guard Commander General Ali Ja'afari will reportedly trade the drone for updated centrifuges for enriching uranium, advanced nuclear and solid fuel missile technology, and the S-300 missile defense system. Well, that's asking a lot, but they just may get it. This story may provide some measure of how seriously Israel is taking its present security situation. Last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that he will begin hosting regular Bible studies at his official residence. The Prime Minister said he was establishing the study circle to perpetuate love of the Bible. He made his remarks at a ceremony to mark the 38th anniversary of the death of Israel's founder, David Ben-Gurion. Netanyahu explained, Ben-Gurion understood that the book of books is our mandate for our country, as he said in that same unforgettable statement before the Peel Commission in 1936. He viewed the Bible as the wondrous story of the Jewish people, the unique spiritual, cultural, and historical heritage of our people, and also as one of the cornerstones of all human culture. By the way, when Mr. Netanyahu says he's doing a Bible study, well, he's talking about the Hebrew Scriptures, what we call the Old Testament. But both Mr. Netanyahu and many of the historic leaders of Israel were real students of the Scriptures in Hebrew, and especially the prophetic amount. You know, one of the greatest thrills for me as an author is the fact that I found that David Ben-Gurion was studying my first book, The Late Great Planet Earth, for several weeks just before he died. And as a matter of fact, the room where he died, his room at Kibbutz Sadi Boker, has been set aside as a kind of an honor for him. And sitting on a table next to his bed is a dog-eared copy of The Late Great Planet Earth. And that's because that's what he was studying. I believe that there are many who study the same things we do. In other words, we have in common as Christians and of Jews a love for the Hebrew Scriptures. The regular Bible study was also a practice of Israel's Prime Minister Menachem Begin. He was a real student of prophecy. Begin founded the Likud party, which Netanyahu now leads, and courageously joined with Egyptian President Anwar Sadat to sign the peace treaty between Egypt, Israel, that has now endured for more than 3 decades. It has been said that Mr. Sadat, though a Muslim, was also a student of the Bible. Just an interesting coincidence? Maybe.